This training session is how to host a successful meeting. I'm sure you guys have all been to a non-successful meeting before, so this will help you avoid that. Today's training is written for officers, but as a member, it'll be important for you to know this information as well so that you can do your part, and you might lead your own meeting at some point, so this will set you up with all of the information that you need to do that. So I'm going to go through this, and then at the end we're going to have a little Q&A. So save any questions that you might have for the end, and I strongly recommend taking notes. Cool. So what is a bad meeting? First of all, it's aimless, right? You might feel like this meeting could have been an email. If members aren't really sure what the meeting is about, like halfway through, that's bad. It's boring, right? If I feel like I have something better to do, then I won't come next time. If I'm counting the minutes until I can leave, how likely am I to come again if it's optional? Nothing really gets done. It might feel like it was a waste of time. Meetings can sometimes feel like a lot of separate groups having separate conversations. Nothing really gets done that way, and some people will feel excluded and undervalued, like we're wasting their time. We really want to avoid that. They might feel like, why are we here? If the meeting feels pointless, then what is the club really doing? Especially for new members, their only impression of your club is their first meeting. So if the meeting is disorganized and pointless, they will not feel inspired to dedicate time or energy to the club. So having regular meetings for your chapter is important for a lot of reasons. First, community building. Meetings are likely to be the only place that your members will interact with each other in person. So making connections is always easier and more effective in person. This is the place to connect with your members and foster connections between them. Think about texting a friend that you haven't seen in a long time versus meeting up with them in person. Think about how much more you end up sharing with each other when you're sitting across from each other having coffee or something like that instead of just texting. Another thing is information sharing. So it's easier and more effective to share information at a meeting than it is to send emails or texts. I'm going to hide this. Another one is event planning. So if you plan on participating in certain events like Ask an Atheist Day or our annual leadership conference, for example, you'll need to plan in advance with your members. And much more can get done in person or even in a virtual meeting than over emails, texts, phone calls, stuff like that. Because if you can't meet in person, a virtual meeting is still preferred over calls and email because there's a lot of value in people responding to each other in real time. Member engagement. The more that you can get your members engaged with your chapter, the more they'll be invested in the success of the chapter long term and in their own leadership development as secular activists. So if you can get someone to say yes to something, even if it's small, they're more likely to say yes again. So same rule applies to asking for someone's time and energy, right? If they come to a meeting, they're more likely to participate in event days and dedicate more time and energy to the chapter. Another one is leadership development. You must have a president and a treasurer for your chapter, as I'm sure that you already know. So if you'd like some more information on officers' responsibilities and how to elect them, I can totally give you more information. Just send me an email. And my email is there. So how successful your meeting will be is dependent on how much effort you put in and how much you value attention to detail. Planning everything in advance will help the meeting run smoothly and encourage your members to attend meetings regularly. So if your members can see how much effort you put in, which can be translated to how much you care, they will use that to gauge how much effort they should also put in. which can be translated to how much they will care. You will basically set the bar of expectations for your chapter, and it all starts with meetings. So before your meeting, first you want to set clear objectives. Know exactly what you want to get out of your meeting. What is the purpose of this meeting? Are you electing a new officer? Are you planning for Ask an Atheist Day? Or just meeting to enjoy community and share discussion? You want to decide this ahead of time and be clear. Create an agenda. An agenda will keep you on track and will help you remember everything that you wanted to talk about. It will also help keep everyone on the same page throughout the meeting. With no agenda, people will be a lot more likely to get in side conversations or take the meeting in a different direction than originally planned. People will also get lost, and when people are lost, they might get bored or feel disconnected from the group. So an agenda not only helps you remember everything that you want to cover, but it also unifies everyone's headspace to allow for better and more efficient communication. So super important, you've got to promote your meeting. You can use flyers, social media, school announcements if that's available to you, and email will be your friends. So make sure the date, time, and location clearly communicated. Too many reminders is better than no reminders. So even if you're sure everyone knows about the meeting, people are really busy sometimes, so an extra reminder won't hurt. And also, the more public promotion that you do, the better, because this increases the visibility of your group on campus and will plant a seed of the chapter's existence so that when you do things like tabling, students will be more likely to interact with you or join your group because they already know about you. Then you want to have the date set for your next meeting already. So before your meeting even starts, have the date set for your next meeting already. That way you can let your members know when the next meeting will be at the end of this one. Because as you guys know, college students can be really busy. So being able to mark their calendars ahead of time will be a lot easier for them to block out the time for the meeting instead of trying to make time for it later on. And it's even better if you have meetings consistently on the same day every month. So you want to choose an officer to take notes. If you don't take notes on the meeting, you will probably forget some things that happened or things that were said at the meeting. And the more detailed notes that you take, the more information that you'll have to go off of in the future. So I would recommend creating a digital folder, like on Google Drive or something like that, with meeting notes accessible by members or at least by the officers. So that way they can look into the past, which will help you guys with planning future meetings and dealing with your members. At the meeting. So make sure that you have someone available to welcome everyone who comes in. And you want to think about the welcome as the first icebreaker. So it's really important to talk to everyone who comes in, especially new members, if they haven't been to a meeting before. This is like their first perception of your club in general. So you want to ask questions like, how did you hear about us? Why are you interested in joining a secular club? Make sure that you smile a lot. You want to act like you're making a friend, basically. You want to make them feel really welcome. So it can be really helpful to have water and snacks available. You don't want to blow your budget on food, obviously, but some things like chip bags or cookies or pizza can make a really big difference in the vibe of your meeting. Also, if you have something cool like pizza, you can promote it with the meeting. And it may encourage more people to attend. So, like it says here, back in college, I saw a sign that was like free pizza, room 305 at this time, and I was like, yes. So I went for the pizza, and it was great. We watched a movie, but I stayed for the community. I ended up joining the club, and it was a great time. But I went for the pizza, to be honest. So you want to start your meeting with a fun icebreaker to get everyone loosened up and involved. If everyone there already knows each other, It might be fun to start with a short game. You could do things like I used to have people do down by the banks. Everyone sit in a circle and you slap each other's hands. Or you could do things like ninja or telephone. It's always fun. But if you have new members or newer members present, or there's people there who haven't met before, it can be really great to do a round of introductions. So you want to have everyone go around and say like their name and either where they're from or their major, and you can add in a silly question. If you can get people to laugh and have a good time, that always makes things better. And also, they'll be more likely to attend in the future if they're having a good time. So then you want to start with reviewing the previous meeting's notes. So it's likely that you'll have people present who were not there for the last meeting. So you'll want to keep them up to date and involved. And that way, this will make sure that everyone is on the same page and can contribute equally. Then you want to stick to the agenda. So if people get distracted and go off course for too long, reel them back in and let them know that they can continue with their discussion after the meeting nicely. So even if your meeting is perfectly planned and people are engaged and having fun, it won't matter if your meeting is totally derailed by an external topic. It's distracting and it takes away from the message that you want to send and the vibe that you're curating. But, you don't want to be rude or come off as annoyed because that will push people away. Instead, you want to approach the situation with patience and respect and then quickly move on. So at the meeting, again, you want to encourage participation. So asking questions lets your members know that you care about what they think, and it also allows them the space to contribute when they may have been nervous to speak up. And if you notice that someone in particular isn't talking or participating, you can ask them questions directly to get them involved. People are more likely to stick with the club and attend meetings if they feel involved. You want to delegate action items. So make sure to clearly communicate who needs to do what, especially if you are planning an event or planning travel to an event. And you want to follow up after the meeting with each individual to remind them of their responsibility. There's likely a lot more to be done than you can do alone, and delegating tasks makes everything run smoother. It also gets people more involved, which will lead to better dedication to the chapter and feelings of fulfillment from seeing the fruits of their labor. Working as a team boosts morale and helps you connect with each other as well. So again, you want to share the date of the next meeting. Tell them to write it down. People will be more likely to attend the next meeting if you tell them at this point, instead of waiting a couple days or a week and your email doesn't get seen, or now they've already made other plans. I would recommend holding regular meetings, like every Friday at the same time and place, or every third Thursday of the month. This eliminates confusion and encourages attendance. And lastly, you want to thank everyone for attending and participating, because it's always best practice to say thank you after speaking to a group, hosting a meeting, or a discussion. If your members know that you appreciate their presence and their efforts, they're a lot more likely to stick with you and appreciate you back. So after the meeting, you want to share notes with your members. Everyone forgets, so help them remember. Share notes in a group chat or in an email. Sharing notes really solidifies the information that was shared during the meeting in the minds of your chapter members. Hearing it once, some people may lack comprehension, but when literally spelled out in front of them, people can absorb the meaning of what was said a little better. So students should be able to access meeting notes anytime, especially officers, so that they can reference what happened and plan for the next meeting. So then you want to receive feedback about your meeting. Like, did it suck, or was it awesome? Was it a lot of fun? Did it go too long? If someone gives you negative feedback that you disagree with, you can always consult with others and get their opinion. But only after, of course, thanking the person who brought it up for doing so and moving on. You want to consult others in private so that you can make the best decision for your chapter. However, most of your feedback will probably be positive, and you may need to ask what people didn't like about the meeting, because negative feedback is a chance for growth and connection. So you want negative feedback. It's like when you want someone to tell you when there's something in your teeth so that you can take it out. So then you want to reach out to new members. So at the meeting, hopefully people wrote down their names and contact information on a sign-up sheet. So you can hit them up, welcome them to the club, share what your club intends to do this semester. That part is really important. And invite them to the next meeting, of course. So then you want to promote your next meeting. And you guys know what to do. So, some ideas. You want to set up a group chat for your chapter on Discord, Telegram, or WhatsApp. These are the best places to do it. Consider having a separate group chat for just your officers so you can do some planning. And consider having a separate meeting with just your officers when you're planning something big, like an event or travel to an event. So, in summary, regular meetings foster community, share information, plan events, engage members, and develop leadership. Successful meetings require clear objectives, agenda creation, and effective promotion. During meetings, you want to stick to the agenda, encourage participation, delegate tasks, and express gratitude. And after the meetings, you want to share notes, collect feedback, reflect, reach out to new members, and promote the next meeting. So let's see who is here. How can I see everyone?
There should be an option for like gallery view or just speaker view when you go back to Zoom, like on the side.
Okay, well, I'm just going to look at who's here, their names. Cool. So, Egan, thank you so much for joining this training session. I really appreciate it. Can you tell me what would be your first step in promoting your meeting?
So the first step in promoting the meeting would be to maybe in the format of flyers. So flyers, I did make notes. So before your meeting, have a clear objective. And then for promoting, wasn't it flyers mentions?
Yeah,
Or
totally. And
email, flyers,
there's,
yeah.
I'm just interested in knowing, like, for you personally, you're about to hold your first meeting. What is the
Oh,
first thing that you're going to do?
okay. So if I want to um, get the word out about my meeting, I would most likely promote it through sending out a mass email and then a reminder. So before maybe, depending on what tool I'm using for members that signed up, making sure that I send an automated reminder, hey, the meeting is going to be tomorrow, or even through text message or something to remind them that the meeting is will happen.
Nice. Yes, emails are really effective. Make sure whenever you're sending emails for everybody, like you follow up with a call or a text, because a lot of people don't check their email, right? But definitely send emails. That is awesome. Let's see. Colby, are you here? Yes. Well, it looks like Colby's not paying attention. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up to questions. So if you guys have any questions or comments, stories, anything like that. Oh, hi, Colby. There he is. Cool. So I was going to ask you, like, how would you respond to someone who came up to you after a meeting and was like, I felt like that meeting didn't go very well. I felt like it went too long. Just giving you like a lot of negative feedback. What would be like your first response to that person?
Are we just like having anyone answer? Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, Kobe's mic isn't working. I'm not sure if he wanted to like type in his
Okay.
response real quick, but
Yeah, I think Colby's typing.
Got it.
But yeah, if you have an answer, go ahead.
Well, I would probably apologize and try to be understanding and listen to, and I'd ask why they felt that it wasn't a good meeting. I would probably agree because if someone else felt it wasn't a good meeting, there probably wasn't a good vibe. And then I'd maybe talk with my officers to see, why the meeting didn't go very well, and then try to correct that.
Yeah. Exactly. And the first thing should always be like, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I really appreciate it. And then, yeah, you can apologize, but if it's something, you always want to like look at it like, is what this person is telling me, is it valid? A lot of times it is, and you should either apologize or take the time to fix it. Sometimes it's not, and you can just thank them and like look into it later. And I see Colby's answer. I would thank them for the courage to approach me exactly and then ask what we could do to make it better. Yeah, I like that a lot. Like asking is awesome. Asking them what they think that you should do to make the meeting better can be really effective for sure. So, does anyone have anything to add? Any questions? Okay, well, if not, next week on Wednesday at the same time, Chase is going to be running a training session on how to recruit new student members. So his training runs like right after mine for a reason, because these two concepts are connected. Like we just talked about how to host a meeting. Hopefully you might get some new members in there, maybe you don't. But how we talked about reaching out to those new members, Chase will let you know how to do that next week. So make sure that you register for that. If there's nothing else anyone has to say, then that concludes this training. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.